Moment, everyone, to start the live stream. And welcome to the Career Masterclass, Most Effective Job Hunting Strategies for Tech Jobs in 2021. Speaker today is Vinay Trivedi, who has just joined TerraPay as their new global head of HR and administration. In a moment, a quick orientation to the controls of WebEx. Please ask your questions for Vinay in the Q&A box. We do those up for him at the Q&A section of the presentation toward the end. Anything you put in chat, he may not see unless you address it to all panelists. Make sure that you do address your chat to all panelists and also be doing quick polls beginning and end of the presentation. So what we want to do here is start with this one and launch the poll here. And this is a quick poll about your experience. Get a chance to understand the audience better. And also, we've been asking this question since the start of the pandemic. How are you feeling today? So answer both parts of this question. Got about 20 seconds left.
I answered that as well.
Oh, good. Three, two, one are the poll results. See that we have a fairly even distribution of experience, but with a good representation of people with more than 10 years, as well as some people who are still in school. Fortunately, most people are feeling well or okay today. For the rest of you, we hope that this presentation brings you some information that you can use to improve your mood about your job prospects for 2021-2022. I'm going to introduce now, who you see on your screen. As I mentioned, he has just joined TerraPay as the global head of HR and administration. He has over 15 years of experience in the field of talent management, talent engagement, talent acquisition. He's worked in IT, banking, insurance, and fintech sectors. And TerraPay is a digital payments infrastructure and solutions provider. So it's in the business of helping consumers exchange money.
We can't
So,
hear you very clearly. I think you'll have to be a little loud.
ah, probably the positioning of the microphone.
Yeah, this is better.
Apologize for that, but I'm going to turn it over to Vinay. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and let him take over the presentation. So welcome, Vinay. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me over. It's a pleasure to be interacting today with so many people and seeing how we can together work on better job strategies.
And we're focusing on job searching, so talking about things like what tech jobs will be in demand this year and beyond, and where to look for those jobs. And so I understand you will be sharing your presentation now.
Yeah,
Okay.
let me just share my presentation. I'm guessing people are able to see the presentation.
Yes, we are.
Excellent. You know, the first part to effectively looking for an opportunity is how do you build your story and how is it that you are able to share your story with people. So I'm going to be spending um, this next 1 hour on helping a lot of you by giving tips on how can you share your story and what is it that you should do to effectively look for a job. um, it's going to be a good 1 hour with a lot of tips, ladies and gentlemen, and definitely I'll try and answer as many questions as possible. You can keep the Q&A section pretty warm by continuing to post your questions as you go through this particular presentation. Um, to set a tone for our conversation, I think we are going to have a frank conversation. We'll make it engaging with a lot of examples and a lot of things that I will keep, sharing about effective, job hunt strategies, and also giving you some tips of what skills are going to be hard. How is it that you're going to go ahead in looking for them? There are also going to be some things that are going to be hard hitting because truth be said, we need to know the reality. We cannot expect everything to fall into our lap. There is got to be work that we have to do, and we have to be honest to ourselves. So the conversation is going to also be around that. So this is the tone. We'll keep it as frank. We will keep it as engaging, and engaging means it's a two-way street. So I would look forward to certainly talking to all of you and answering your questions. And hard hitting, that's my job. I need to tell you the facts. So that's how it's going to be, right? While we get into this whole strategy, it's important that all of us understand the context of the world we are living in, right? uh, we're living in a world which is overloaded with information, news, words like unprecedented. We have all pretty much become virtual human beings. So online learning, I mean, uh, if you look at the last 1 year, the amount of information we have consumed just by virtue of staying home, we sometimes take a break by not looking at any gadgets because um, it's just too much of overload of information, right? News has honestly been a bane more than a boon because a lot of people have had anxiety issues because they kept reading news, and that also made an impact on how they were performing at their jobs. That made an impact on how effectively they were looking for opportunities. That made an impact on how they could build themselves up. So definitely this is the world we are living in, which is an overloaded world. um, Webinar, right? I mean, we're all on a webinar trying to understand a lot of things. Uh, we have, all of us just went berserk in the first 6 months of the pandemic, which is, starting off Feb, March of last year. to about August, September, when everybody was on webinars. Either you are presenting on webinars for people like us and people like you who want to listen and consume knowledge. We had FOMO, which is fear of missing out. So everybody wanted information. We've, I think, somewhere made peace with it, and now we know what and how we are able to sort of deal with online content. But this is a reality. And predictions. Oh my God, are we going to go back to work from September 2020? Are we going to go back to work from Jan 2021? Oh no, I think there's another wave. Are we going to now go back to work, from August 2021, September 2022? We've been predicting as if we have all the powers, right? We've been talking of how workplaces are going to change, how life will change, while we are getting used to a certain lifestyle ourselves. So this is the context of the world we are living in, which I would say is the new normal, which I would say is here to stay, and which will change in at most a hybrid fashion. But I thought it's important that a context is shared with all of you so that we all understand. We are all overloaded with a lot of things. We are fatigued, we are tired, we want to break the monotony, so on and so forth. Right. Having said that, it's important that we understand the three pillars of how one should build a story. And obviously, this webinar is to help you with some tips and not just give you information that you already know. By the way, let me give you a little secret. There's nothing that I'm going to say you're not aware of. But what I'm going to say is help you organize the thoughts that you're already aware of. So there's a difference, when you have everything cluttered, like if your wardrobe is cluttered, it's difficult to find information. That's how if your mind is cluttered, it's difficult to get the right information, when you're giving an interview or when you're talking to somebody or when you're trying to do something. So what I'm going to do is an attempt to help you organize that space, which will help you in an effective job search strategy while we talk about different hot skills, etc., right? While this is going to be tech specific, but honestly, conversation, interview, discussion is a human to human discussion. And therefore, a lot of these vectors are common across. It's just that how your story is different and how you present that makes a whole lot of difference. Right? The first thing that I want all of you to do, if you're, looking, I saw that there were about 30% university students. They were like a 20%, 0 to 4 years, 5 years. There's so many of you with varied experiences. An essay is a very powerful tool to help you with your life story. When I say that you have to write an essay about yourself, you have to start by writing your life story as if it's a movie. Yeah, I know it sounds pretty dramatic that, how do I, really do that? But the beautiful thing of writing an essay about yourself is it will pictorially or visually, it'll take you back in time of what all you have done and how much you've achieved and how much you've learned. So when you look at writing your essay, you have to start from your school days, and the essay should cover essentially three things. What were your achievements? What were your failures? What were your learnings? I will repeat, what were your achievements? What were your failures? And what were your learnings? Start writing from school. Like, for example, when I keep adding to my essay because, we are growing and we are doing new things. So I keep doing that. I've written how I've learned by failing in an exam, how I have been thrilled when I got, say, a first prize in a competition, how I actually learned not to do things which our parents have told, so many things like that, right? Start in that order from your school life. Bucket your life in school life, graduate life, and working life. Even in working life, have a 5-year window of buckets, first 5 years, second 5 years, then depending on how you progress, because you're also maturing in those years in your work. So your responsibilities are going to be different at different stages, higher at higher levels. So start with writing an essay about yourself. Just write an essay. right? Um, what this will do at the end of it is A, you would have lived through a beautiful life that you will portray, beautiful, miserable, full of learnings, full of failures, full of achievements, a mixed bag of multiple things. It could be many things. But that essentially is giving you arms and ammunitions of experiences that you can throw at your interviewers. I will repeat, when you have an essay written, you have a bag full of experiences that you remember. So if somebody says, tell me two failures, you have two failures. Oh, you want two failures? I'll give you three failures. Tell me the biggest learning in your life. You will say, oh, I have four different learnings and I would like to talk about in four different jobs, the kind of things I've learned, right? Achievements. I'm no longer just remembering my latest achievement, but I actually, in a chronological order, remembering a lot of my past achievements as well. So what I'm doing is this essay as an activity is helping you build this. Why do we fail in interviews most of the times, or why do we not work well in our job search, or why is it that we don't clear our interviews? Is not because you're bad. Most of the times it is because we do not remember the right things that we've got to tell the interviewer. This will help you organize that. So the first thing that you have to do, and this is an activity for everybody, is to write an essay about yourself. It's a very powerful tool. I do that once every year, and I keep adding my experiences. I obviously have a long essay, but you start off and you keep adding experiences, you will have better chances of doing your interview well. Also, when you document about your life, a lot of things we do in life we don't remember. It's a part on process, but suddenly one day you realize, oh my god, I had been through that situation and I actually managed to kill the crisis by doing this for the client, by developing this code, by writing it in this manner, so on and so forth. So this is the first activity that all of you have to do. Once you've written your essay, the next thing is, again, $1 million question. And this is very simple, guys, right? All of you keep having this debate. Oh, I keep doing certifications. Is it of any use? Simplilearn. I mean, this platform is going to kill me if I have to say anything more about it. But, right, is this valid? Is this certification helpful? Should I do this certification or not, right? The only thing that you need to do is, if you are doing any certification, either free of cost or by paying money, if you do any course, either through these webinars or through actual programs that you go through, you have to have a book, a journal. I mean, I've kept a book myself while I'm, with you guys, so that I can make my notes when I learned something, right? You have to, every course, if you've done 10 certifications, each of those certifications, you should have 2 or 3 learnings that you document. What I'm again doing is consciously organizing yourself in a manner that your certifications become powerful and they stand up for you when somebody asks you, what did you do in that Agile certification? What do you do in that Scrum Master certification? What do you do in that Python developer certification? Oh, you're an AWS certified professional. What does that mean? How do you really work on Amazon Web Services? So if you have 2 learnings per certification, and when somebody asks you, what did you do? You have that power of telling them immediately. The minute you tell somebody about your learnings in a certification or a course, that person on the opposite side is going to take it seriously. But if you tell that person, oh, I did that certification 4 years back, I don't remember too much of it, is that person going to take you seriously? Of course not. Therefore, these certifications are brilliant. These courses are amazing because they keep enhancing your knowledge. But the fact that you're not able to tell that is demeaning you in your own efforts to crack a conversation. Therefore, you should thumb rule any certification I do in my life, any course, any program I enroll, I am going to have 2 distinct learnings and possibly one learning that I implemented in my life written down in a journal or a logbook. And every time before I go for an interview, I will flip those pages and just go through it. So if somebody asks me, hey, you did this certification on behavioral interview technique, or you did this certification on anger management, or you did a certification on communication skills, etc., etc., right? What did you learn out of that? damn, if you tell them, what did you learn out of that? I or anybody who's going to be on the other side is going to take you seriously, right? So to build your story, there are only three powerful things, actually, ladies and gentlemen, not too many. First is to write an essay. An essay is nothing but you write down your life story in a manner where you talk about your achievements, your failures, your learnings, your experiences, and just write down. That doesn't have to be in any order. Write down in whatever you remember. Chronological is better. From school to current is better, but you can take a call if you want to go from current to back to your childhood or however else that you want to do. But write it down. That will give you a lot of arms and ammunitions of learnings, of failures, of achievements, of experiences, blah, 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 blah. And these are things that we fumble on. Technically, nobody fumbles on things, right? They ask you some technical question. If you're working on a code, you will tell what Java Springboard is. You will tell what a manual test script is. You will tell what an automated, how do you run an automation, test. So of course, you're going to be strong in technicality. But it is these are elements that sometimes do not allow you to crack your interview conversations or look out for opportunities, right? When people say, oh, he's very good in technical, but otherwise he did not come across as a confident candidate. Like, what are they trying to say? They're saying that you don't have a hold of what you are. Therefore, this will help you in that, right? Secondly, your certifications and courses, thumb rule, two learnings, and possibly one thing that you've implemented, right? The minute you write it down, ladies and gentlemen, you will remember it for the rest of your life because that experience is fresh. And every time you flip pages, that whole story comes alive. And that helps you in talking confidently. Now, when you do all of this, the uh, the not a side effect, but an outcome of this activity is confidence. Because the minute you are able to answer these things, the confidence increases. The minute you're not able to answer questions, your confidence decreases. It's like, crossing levels in different in a game when you have to cross different levels, right? Your confidence increases when you cross a tough one, then next one and when you fail, you realize you failed because you are overconfident, right? Or you're underconfident. So this will help you also increase your confidence, right? The last thing, which is the simplest thing, which I very firmly believe in, is to remove global jargons. Don't write rosy things in your profile, in your CV. Don't talk of rosy things. I am an enthusiastic, technological professional. Remove all global gap or global jargons, because the more you keep it simple, straightforward, the higher is going to be the impact of your story. Because your story is impactful when they believe that it is truthful. Your story is not impactful because they believe you can speak very well, right? I may be speaking very well, but I may not have a very impactful story if I've not done these things, right? So keep it simple. And that's very difficult because all of us keep thinking, oh, objective. In your CV, everybody has an objective. That objective is a copy paste of Google search. Oh my God, I don't even know why people write objective. I don't even think you guys know why do you write objective, because you've just seen it somewhere. It feels nice. You write an objective. But when somebody asks you, oh, what is that in your objective that you've written? Oh, sir, that because everybody wrote, we also wrote. Then if you're not serious about yourself, how are they going to take you seriously? So these are small things that you should take care of. I will stop sharing. Answer any questions on this part, if there is any, before I move to the next section. While I know Q&A is in the end, but if there is one or two questions that I could possibly use the Q&A section to hear, I will try and either attempt to answer or will move.
Okay.
Is that okay?
There's a couple of questions that came in through the chat and Q&A having to do with the essay. There's a question from Sanchari who asks how many words should be in the essay. What will the employers have any time to read the essays? And I think you have a take on what the essay is for, right?
That's a great question. Sanchari, and for everybody else, the essay is personal to you. The outcome of the essay is what you showcase. You're not going to show this essay to anybody. It's your life story. That's your background of all the arms and ammunitions of your experiences and learnings and progress and growth. right? That you're not going to share everything with everybody. You may only share two relevant ones in a certain interview. You may share two others in another interview. So the essay should not have any word limit. It's your essay and you do the way you want to do it. You don't show it to anybody. Okay. So yeah, that's that.
Okay. Mohammed asks, what if we have fewer achievements? How will that affect our confidence level?
Sorry, I didn't get that question.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Mohammed asks, what if we have fewer achievements? How will that impact our confidence level?
Mohammed, so if you have fewer achievements, doesn't matter. What matters is how you're able to tell that, how you're able to remember that, and how confident you are about those achievements. I may have just 2 or 3 noteworthy achievements, but if I'm confident of those 3 achievements and I tell that, my job is done. So don't worry about how many achievements you have, but worry about how you're able to confidently share those achievements with people.
Okay. And I think you probably address this when we get a little farther in, but we have questions on how to deal with interview questions like weaknesses and that type.
I will.
Okay.
I will. There's a whole section on how you should prepare for interview. This is a prelude to your interview conversation. So I've broken down interview as well in a very simple term, and I'll share that in the presentation. I see a lot of people asking objective, right? My take is very simple, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to write an objective, believe in that. Second, remember that. Third, proudly state that. I will repeat. If you want to write an objective, believe in that, remember that, state that. I do not have an objective on my CV. There's no right or wrong answer. It's an approach. If you want to write, ideally, every job application, you should have an objective which is different because the outcome of that job may be different. For example, I'm an HR professional. If I'm applying for a recruiting job, I'm going to write my objective as a recruiter. If I'm applying for an HR business partner job, I'm going to write my objective as an HR business partner. So if you write an objective, like I said, believe in it, remember it, and talk about it proudly. Otherwise, it's okay if you don't write. I'll go back to the presentation and take some more. And objective statement, everything is the same. You can write a statement, but believe in it, remember it, talk about it. Objective, believe in it, remember it, talk about it. Every word of your profile you should remember, and you should know why you've written that. You cannot act surprised when somebody asks you a question on what you've written in your own profile. As simple as that. I'll go back to sharing and we'll take more questions.
Okay.
Excellent. You know, a lot of the next question is, how do I approach building my profile, right? And some of you have been asking, you started asking how many words, what do I say, and all of that, right? There are only simple do's and don'ts, okay? I'll talk of don'ts first, right? Don't do anything which is a tick box activity. When I say a tick in the box activity, it means that don't write, don't say, or don't do anything that you believe I have to do it because it's a tick mark activity. This is my personal belief because that makes a weaker profile, a weaker personality, right? Now, does it mean that, oh, is graduation tick in the box? No, it's not. That's a basic requirement of you moving to the next level, right? That's not what I mean by tick in the box activity. Tick in the box activity is just because everybody is writing 10 certifications, I'm also going to write 10 certifications. Tick in the box activity is like just because everybody is writing an objective, I'm also going to write an objective. Tick in the box activities, just because everybody's profile has, you know, a lot of things written in the job responsibility, I will also write a lot of things in the job responsibility. Don't do it. Write what is real, write what is you, write what you have done. If it means, like somebody, you know, Mohammed asked, oh, I only have a few achievements. So what? Be proud of your achievements, right? Be proud of who you are and represent yourself well. That is important. So tick in the box is exactly that. Herd mentality, I don't need to explain herd mentality, right? We all have been victims of that. Just because everybody's doing this, like suddenly everybody says, oh, I think Ruby on Rails is going to be hot. You can't hear me? Can you hear me, Charles?
Your audio seems to be clear, yeah.
Okay. No, somebody just pinged saying they can't hear. Great. Sorry about that. So herd mentality is just because somebody says that, oh, data analytics or data science is going to be the next big thing, so I have to do that. Well, you need to understand the trends and possibly pick up on them, but it cannot be because everybody is doing that, you're doing that, right? Especially to a lot of engineers from India who are listening in today, right? We've all been a part of the wave herd mentality because people have told this is what you have to do, right? We've done mechanical engineering, we've done chemical engineering, we've done electronics and communication, but we are doing software jobs, or we are, testing, or getting bugs tested on codes written by somebody and getting frustrated, right? Well, it's important that you recognize this. And if you're building your profile, then try not having a herd mentality. Okay. Simple, only two don'ts, not too many. I don't like to give too many because uh, we're all used to don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. So we'll talk of do this, do this, do this more than what we should not do. The do's are again very simple. You need to have a focused approach. When I say a focused approach, I'll give you an example. You may be attending 5 different interviews on one day, but that does not give you the right. That does not give you the right to tell the interviewer, oh, sorry, I've not gone through the job description when you are attending a particular interview. Focused approach means that you give your 100% to what you do. While technically we prepare, we goof up on these things. Oh, I haven't read too much about the company. Oh, this is the 4th interview I'm giving, right? Don't do that, because you never know which interview is going to be the best one, or which interview is going to get you a job, or which conversation is going to be interesting. Therefore, it is important that for every conversation, you give your 100%. Simple thing that you have to do is keep this notebook that I keep, lifting it every now and then, right? Before you go for that interview, write down what the company is about, write down the 3 things in the job, ensure that you as an individual are aware. Focused approach, right? Common sense. Um, well, we all, keep saying common sense is not so common, but a lot of things that you do in a conversation is commonsensical. Now, you may ask me, how is it commonsensical to go look for a job, right? I would say that if you're going for a conversation or if you're looking for an opportunity, you should have the common sense to understand what that opportunity is and how you fit in. If you don't have that, but you forcefully try to fit yourself in and you get a negative answer and you get demotivated, that's where you're not using common sense. It is important to read job descriptions, ladies and gentlemen, at least 3 times, and not convince yourself of things you have not done, saying that, oh, I can do this and I will try and convince, right? Use common sense, use your discretion. We all have that. It's stored very well in our head. We just don't like to use it very often, right? Um, it is important that, I've seen a lot of techies struggle saying, oh, I'm not a social media person. Oh, I don't like going on LinkedIn. I don't like doing this. You see, the world has changed. And as techies, you guys are working on making this world a highly hyper connected place to be in, right? Nobody gave us training on Instagram, Facebook. Nobody gave us training on Snapchat. Nobody gave us training on creating reels. We did it by ourselves, right? The same needs to be applied for LinkedIn. Every day you have to be a little active. When I say active, it means consciously engaging on these platforms. It is important that being the techies who are making this world a hyper technology world, you also be active on these portals. Job portals, the way you have to be active is very simple. I'll give you a simple trick for job portals. Okay, it is every day morning, go to naukri.com, just update your phone number every day. When you're very, very actively looking for a job, do it every day. When you're looking for a job but not very actively, do it once a week. But you should simply go on your Hirist, Updaz, IMJobs, Naukri.com, Monster, Career Builder. There are so many job portals that are available, and you may be active or you may have posted your profile on many. You have to every day just go and update your phone number, just rewrite your name again and save it. What it does is it puts your profile on the top of the stack for that day, which means that because you guys build artificial intelligence algorithms, right? So the AI built there is that somebody who's been active last in, first out, in the sense somebody who's been active latest, that means that person is currently looking for an opportunity. Somebody who's active 1 month back, that means maybe he's got an opportunity, right? So it's important that you use that common sense of AI that a lot of techies are building and do this. It's a simple tip, it's a trick, right? And it's funny that I'm telling this to the techies because you are the ones who are building it for all of us, for all of us as consumers, right? So it's important that you do that. And active on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is going to be definitely very helpful in job searches. I actually write a lot on LinkedIn, and I've got applications by somebody commenting on my post and them getting a job as well. These are real scenarios I'm talking about. So if you understand this very, very simple thing of how you should prepare for every conversation and not give a lazy reason that, oh, I attended 4 interviews. So what if I don't remember? You should look at my technical skills and hire me. Sorry, if you're not serious, I have 100 other people who are serious, right? Focused approach, common sense. Start using that more often. Be active on these platforms. Very important, very critical. Oof. I hope I'm going in at a reasonable pace and people are able to understand. And I'm hoping everybody is wide awake in India and everywhere else listening to what I'm saying. Excellent. You could just say yes, enjoying, etc. So it'll make me feel alive, because I feel like I'm talking to myself, on the computer screen. Everybody else has just switched off their videos. So, I feel people.
I can assure you that you're getting a lively stream of comments and questions.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Right. Let's move on, because then we'll spend a lot of time on questions. So I would, move straight into how do you prepare for interview? There are really only 5 sections, ladies and gentlemen, in my view. Again, I've used common sense, but largely just about 5 sections, and they are, right? First, right, you can take a screenshot of this, take a printout. Before every interview, just go through this. You will definitely crack it, and you'll crack it easily, right? Who are you, right? That's the first section, which is what's your personal background, what's your educational background, and possibly if you have some interesting hobbies, right? Hobbies can't be, oh, I like to binge watch on web series. I mean, that's not a hobby. That's basically you're wasting away your life. Why do I say KISS? Because I want you to keep it short and simple. We don't want to know how you played cricket or how you played baseball or how you played hide and seek in your childhood. We are generally trying to have a conversation. It's a conversation starter. So your first section, which is your personal background, educational background, and your hobbies, should be wrapped up in, say, 1 minute, 1 minute, 15 seconds. If I have to give you an example, and I'll do a quick one. I'll share this entire presentation with Simplilearn, and they can share it with you guys, so you can use it. Don't worry. If they have that possibility, they'll do this. And anyways, this will be uploaded. So for the one who just pinged saying, "Can we get this?" you will have it. I mean, there's no proprietary information here. It's all everybody's learnings. So we'll share this. Don't worry about it. The minute I say, I'm going to share the presentation, people, I'll get this presentation. Let me go through it later. Don't do that. Listen to what I'm saying. So KISS is, how you can keep it short and simple. If I have to give you an example, my name is Vinay Trivedi. I'm a Gujarati. I've born and brought up in Bangalore. My family, my parents live with me. I've done my education here. I've done my master's from XLRI. I like traveling in my, free time. I just made an impromptu one, but it's as simple as that, right? That's the first. Second section, what have you done? Okay. I will sort of share a little tip to all of you today. A lot of HR folks will kill me for this because I know this is going to be out in public domain. But for us as HR folks, do you know, ladies and gentlemen, when we go on an interview, it's like a blind date. We don't know who you guys are, but what we are doing is we are using your not so focused approach or your lack of common sense in tricking you or making it a miserable conversation, because you will tell some things or blurt out something because you're not well prepared, and we'll pick that up and we'll start hammering you on that, right? So for us, more than you, for us, it's a blind date, right? We don't even know who you are. We ask you questions. Oh, tell me about your background. So the minute you start telling all other stories, they'll be like, okay, so I'll catch him on this. Oh, your hobby is playing football. When did you last play football? He'll say, oh, 5 years back. Really? Is that your hobby? Is this who you are? That we actually pick up on things that you goof up, right? So it's a little tip. So be very confident when you go for interviews, because we don't know who you are. Whatever you reveal is what we know. And therefore, it is in your interest to reveal things that you want the interviewer to ask you questions on. So the next section is, what have you done, right? Um, 3 or 4 key areas that you worked on. These points are what you should prepare on when you are preparing for interview conversation. So 3 or 4 key areas, like for example, in my current role, I'm working as a manual tester. My job responsibility is to go through Jira, look at the task allocations. I then have to go to Scrum Master, blah, blah, blah. 3 or 4 critical areas, right? What roles have you done? Possibly in descending order. When I say descending order, it's the latest first. I'll just take 2 seconds in sipping in some water. I've been shouting literally. Roles in descending order. 1 failure, 1 achievement, 1 learning. You have it if you've written your essay, so you'll have multiple things to share. Now, what is this PREP formula? PREP. It's a formula actually. It's not preparation. I know a lot of you thought, what have you done? You have to prepare. No, PREP is a formula, and PREP stands for, P stands for point, R stands for reason, E stands for example, P stands for point, which means that when you talk, if you talk in a PREP format, people will believe you. For example, I love India because there is so much diversity of people, food, and weather. Example, the weather in Goa is amazing. I would want to be there. Therefore, I love India. Point, reason, example, point, right? PREP is a formula. Now, you could use it as PRP, you could use it as PEP, or you could use it as PREP. As in, you could have just point, reason, point, or you could have it as point, reason, example, point, or you could have it as point, example, point. PREP full form is point, reason, example, and restate the same point. So it becomes that much more valid. It becomes that much more powerful, right? What have you done is critical. After you tell about your personal background, what you have done is going to be, somebody asked me, can I repeat? So PREP is point, reason, example, point. After you talk about your personal background, it's important that you start talking about what you've done. In an interview, they'll tell me about yourself. You finish that. Okay, tell me, what have you done? What's your current role? So you will start. So this is how you prepare for it, right? The third section, and these are largely the only sections that you can mix and match and have it in multiple ways, but this is what it is. Value addition, right? What is it that you are going to add value in that particular job? For that, for you to know the job description is very important. Like I mentioned earlier, read the JD well. Map areas in the JD that you've already worked on, because the JD would have said 3 to 5 years in this, so many years in this, should have worked on Jira, should have worked on blah, 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 multiple things, right? Mentally map it to the areas of work, right? So when they ask you, how are you going to add value? Oh, I'm going to add value because I told you I've worked on this area and I believe this is what is there in this job description, which will help me deliver better in this role. Therefore, so you actually talk about specific examples. My whole conversation is on examples, and those examples come through your arms and ammunitions, comes through multiple things, because the more you're able to give examples, the easier it is for the interviewer to believe that you're not bullshitting, but you're actually stating the facts. And that's why examples are important, right? So value addition will have 2 sections. One is, what value will you add? The second section is one area that you have possibly not worked on, which you will tell the interviewer, by the way, these are 5 things I'm going to add value on. Why this role is important for me is because there is this area that I've not worked. That's going to be the growth area for me. So, you are actually saying how I'm adding value and you are also adding value. Because a lot of times interviewer also asks, oh, so tell me, you're not going to do anything new. How will this role help you grow? How will this role help you in your professional career? We are saying like, oh, it'll help me because you can't tell, oh, it's because giving me more money, right? You will obviously not say that. But how do you say that? You say at least something that you've possibly not worked on that you want to work on, right? So this is your value addition. The next section largely is a technical question section, right? Now, technical question is just a is just a sense that I'm trying to give you. I'm not saying that they're gonna. It's not just about your coding technicalities, but technical question is anything which they can ask you specifics on, like favorite subject, favorite sport, right? Area of interest, right? Like for freshers, they'll say, "What's your favorite subject?" That's the easiest bait. Okay, it's a bait. You say, "Oh, my favorite subject is economics." Okay, economics, that's my favorite subject. So tell me about marginal diminishing utility, and you'll be like, "Oh, I learned that in class 12th. I don't even remember that shit now." Right? Technical question is, when they ask you these technical questions. Okay, so or it could be your actual technology related questions, right? When you get into this section, you should know what you say very well. You should know one latest development in that area, because you are telling this is my say favorite subject, this is my favorite skill, this is my favorite technology, this is my favorite area of interest. You are saying that. Because you're saying that, you should know what is happening around. I can't say that, oh, I love this particular technology, I love machine learning. Okay, so what's the latest in machine learning algorithm? um I've done a certification, I don't remember. Is it going to make your argument valid? No, it's not. That's why it's important that you know what you're saying. Say what you know very well, know what you're saying, and keep one latest development ready. Very important. The last thing, and that's a trap, again, a bait or a trap, avoid talking of trending topics. Just because something is trending, do not screw yourself up by saying that, because that will put you in a difficult situation, right? That's one section. Um, the last section is googly. Googly is anything that they can ask you that you do not know the answer to. It's a simple math. I've put it up on the screen as well. You know, answer. You are in doubt, don't answer. You don't know, definitely don't answer. Right? As simple and sweet as that. So there are only these 5 sections, right? Um, you think of any interview, it'll be in some way related to these 4 or 5 areas itself. Any interview conversation that you've attended so far, right? Any interview, right? So I've bucketed this for you to get a simple perspective, right? Keep it short and simple when it comes to personal background. Use the prep formula, which is your point, reason, example, point formula, to make sure that your argument is solid or your statement is solid, people believe it, right? Use as many examples as possible. You can use them because if you've written an essay, you will have a lot of them with you already. So you can use them. And when you don't know or when you are in doubt, have a smile and say, I'm sorry, I don't know about this. Then they may come and ask you, oh, why don't you try? You confidently say, while I'm not aware, I will give it an attempt, but I'm not sure. There's nothing wrong in saying I don't know. But what have you done? Oh, I've done this, this, this. Then they ask you one more question. Oh, I don't know. Okay, what value addition you're going to bring? Oh, I don't know. I've not read the JD well. Okay, tell me about your hobbies. Oh, I don't have any. Now, if for everything you say I don't know, then God bless you. Then definitely, I don't know why are you even there in the interview, right? I don't know can only be used in areas that you genuinely don't know. And that can only happen when only question. But for help you in preparing well, right? That's why this whole slide. Okay. Phew. Okay. I will also give you a brief about how do you build a LinkedIn profile, and then we'll quickly jump into Q&A. I have time for, it's a 1 hour, 15-minute session. I will extend it by 5-6 minutes. Do not worry. And I'll answer as many questions as possible. So, just keep listening and keep your questions ready. Okay. In your LinkedIn, stop writing, I'm a Java evangelist. Stop writing, I'm a technological enthusiast. Right? You have an introduction section. Keep it simple. Designation, education, current stage, accomplishment, skills. Designation, for example, in my case, designation, global CHRO. Education, masters in HR. Current stage, in my case, if I'm hiring for my company, I'll say hiring techies. If I'm looking for opportunities, I'll say looking for a job. Accomplishments, major accomplishments, major awards, right? And key skills if you want to mention. You don't have to write all of them together. You could definitely designation, education, and current stage. First three are critical. The last two may not be in the intro section, right? Again, there's no right or wrong, ladies and gentlemen. I've just used my experience and common sense to make it simple for people to understand, right? Or it could also be a one-line statement. I am a Java professional with 9 years experience looking for opportunities. I am a Java professional with 10 years experience working with this organization. It could also be a one-line statement. There's no harm in that. So it could either be organized as designation, education, current stage, blah, blah, blah. And, if one-line statement is one-line statement. If you're transitioning in between jobs, you can say, say I'm a Ruby on Rails, you know, I'm 8 years experience in Ruby on Rails, currently looking for newer opportunities, currently looking for new jobs, currently looking for new adventures. You can just, it's okay to mention that in your this thing, right? So in the one-line statement, you write like that. In the first step, the first version, you write senior ROR developer, education, whatever education it is, current stage, looking for jobs in ROR. So, while I'm repeating again, there's no right or wrong. Okay. This is just a simple way of sharing. You may not want to implement it, or you may want to, you just take a call on yourself, right? All of us are adults, right? The third way is just to write designation and current stage. Simple, straightforward. Senior RO developer, looking for an opportunity. Senior Java developer, currently working here. Just that. That's also fine. Cut the clutter, stop the crap. Let me just straight away write to whatever it is. You can also do that, by the way, right? We are HR folks. We tend to talk a lot. Of course, all of you know that we tend to talk a lot. I've been talking for the last 50 minutes, and I'm still so excited at 9:55 p.m. in India, right? So that's how we are, right? But you don't have to be that. You can cut the chase and come to the straight point as well. No problem in that. All right. 3 things to remember while you're building your profile on social media platform. Anything you write, this is my thumb rule. You should have done it at least 10 times. You can't be, just because your college alumni association called you to give a lecture, you cannot suddenly write on your LinkedIn saying, I'm a guest lecturer, right? And I see a lot of people who do that. So I'm just sharing this. Anything you write, you should have done it at least for 10 times or at least for a minimum 1 year, right? It is important. Now, freshers will say, how will we write that? So you will only write that looking for or currently working on, instead of saying that rich experience in. For freshers, instead of saying, they've just joined, they've written rich experience in Java. You should say currently working in Java, right? So, and again, like I said, even in the beginning, I don't believe in global jargons. I can definitely use a language that will be very complex, which you will not be able to comprehend, which we have been taught how to sort of use to dissipate information when we are doing these sessions. I don't believe in that, right? Unless your profession is that, you don't use any fancy words. Keep it simple, keep it straightforward. It's as simple as that. Okay. Oh God, too much information, too much information. If you want to build your personal brand, you have to do three things. And why am I saying if you have to build your personal brand? This was for a job, or this is for a job hunt. Today, everybody is looking for a brand ambassador. Okay. Somebody wants me to go to the previous slide. Okay, take a screenshot, but I can share this as well. I'm going to share this, so don't worry. And this will be there in recorded version for you to go through it later as well. If you want to build a personal brand, you have to be innovative, you have to engage, and you have to experiment. I don't think we have too much time to cover this part of it, but I'll give you why I've put this up here. You are representing a brand you when you are talking to people. And that brand will be reflective of things you say and the way you say. Yes, Karthik, Chintamani, I will share this presentation. Simplilearn will send it to you, all of you on an email, hopefully. Right? I think we should be able to do
Yes.
that. Excellent.
Yes, we will be glad to do that.
Super. So you will, sort of innovate, experiment, and engage, because when you do something innovative, like for example, this session, right? I don't know what you people thought, how I'm not going to come and teach you on how you should hunt for a tech job. I'm not even a techie, I'm an HR person, right? But I thought it's important that I give you a perspective, because all of you are smart enough to build on that perspective. What I've done is I've helped you declutter and organize yourself, comb your hair, come smart. That's what I've done. I haven't given you any technical details because that's not my job, because each one's your own individual self, right? How do you innovate? We often keep thinking, oh, how do I approach this person? Or I just go write an email, they'll say no. Send a message, they'll say no. That's all, nothing more than that. So, it is important that you experiment and innovate, right? I don't even know when was the last time you experimented something. Ask this question to yourself and engage genuinely. When you write to somebody saying that, oh, when I keep getting these LinkedIn requests, right? And that's for job. I was looking for leaders and I saw your stellar profile, therefore I'm reaching out to you. I don't even care for that message, right? So engage genuinely. I'm not going to tell you how you should be genuine. Use common sense, you will know how you should be genuine. Okay. Uh, you have to cut the clutter, right? Like I said, overload in the first slide, right? These are some tips that I thought everybody should know, because that helps you in becoming calmer. The minute you're calmer, you become more confident. The minute you're more confident, you remember more things. The minute you remember more things, you will be able to answer them well. So that's why cutting the clutter is important, right? Like, for example, watch news only for 5 minutes. Don't make yourself anxious by continuously tracking news. I know a lot of us, every time we have so many notifications coming on our mobile phone. It's insane. It just screws up mentally. Don't do that, right? Don't go overboard with anything, right? When people suddenly got this lockdown lifestyle, first 1 month I could see everybody is a chef, everybody is a gardener, everybody is a singer. After 2 months, everybody is back to normal, right? Because everybody went so overboard, right? It just didn't sustain. So don't go overboard with anything you do, right? Learning. If you do not have two implementable solutions, please refrain. This is to the certifications part, right? Smile and take it easy. Think about how you can avoid FOMO-led action. Very important, because sometimes we apply for a job because we fear, oh, that fellow has got a job there, I should also apply. Don't do that. Apply for a job when you think you want to apply for one. Don't apply for a job because somebody is applying for a job. FOMO, right? Be aware, be focused. That is very important. I know I've rushed through this slide. You can I'll just give 1 second, take a screenshot if somebody wants to take a screenshot. But these are things that have helped me in conversations. And by the way, I've just moved from one from one job to another job. So I've just finished an interview process where I've actually implemented everything that I've just told here in the presentation. So, it's very fresh for me to also tell you. Okay. That was my presentation. I should stop screen share and let's go for questions.
Great.
FOMO is fear of missing out.
Yeah.
FOMO is fear of missing out.
We have a huge number of questions, but we'll only be able to take a percentage of them, so I apologize in advance. But speaking of another acronym, Vikati asked about SMART. And can you talk about what the SMART acronym
I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Your
You can't hear me at
microphone.
all?
Yeah. Better.
Oh, okay. I keep switching different headsets, and it always have the same complaint that my voice comes out low. So Vikati asked about another acronym, which is SMART. Can you address that? SMART?
What was that?
Came in from our YouTube channel.
I can't hear you again. Your, I think, microphone problem. Or you can possibly type that if you don't mind. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay, while he's doing this, a lot of you are asking about gap years, right? My simple point on gap years to anybody who's had a gap is you should be able to tell why you took that gap. If it means that you took that gap to prepare for something and failed, talk about it. If you've taken a gap and not done anything, tell that, saying that I took a break. I honestly have not done anything. I'm back in the market, right? My approach to any gap year is to be truthful. 8 out of 10 people will think that you are insane when you are truthful, but you just need one job, so it doesn't matter. Yes, Charles. Sorry, you've put that up, or it's gone up again.
Yeah, I did. Yes, I did. You see it in chat?
Oh, it's in the chat window. Okay, I'm just seeing it. I can't see it on the chat.
It's a question from Vikati asked about
Okay.
the acronym SMART.
The acronyms.
SMART.
SMART. What does SMART mean? Is that what you're asking? SMART?
Yes.
So SMART is specific, measurable, achievable goals, right? So when you set very, very specific goals, when you have measurable targets and you have achievable results, that becomes SMART goals. I hope that's answered the question.
Okay. We have questions from people who are switching from one domain to another. And for example, an aerospace engineer with 8 years of experience who is studying machine learning. So how would he position that on a resume?
So anybody who wants to change career tracks, right? At least the way I see it, and a lot of times we want an opportunity, but at the same time we want to protect our pay scales as well. But we want someone to give us an opportunity as well, right? You can't be sailing on two boats. So if you want to change career tracks, you need to understand that you have to start from scratch, which means nobody's taking away your experience in terms of maturity as a professional, but in terms of exposure to that particular job that you're doing, you are still a fresher. So anybody who wants to change tracks, be willing to do an internship for 3 months, 6 months free of cost, and you are sure to convert that into an opportunity if you've done your transition well, right? Easier, difficult, I don't know, but it's a short shot to get an opportunity in that field. A lot of people, they do certifications and they say, oh, now I should become a project manager, or now I should become an ML expert. It doesn't work that way. So, try getting opportunities in terms of internships. And it's not a bad thing to be an intern at 10 years experience as well. It only shows that you're willing to unlearn and relearn. That'll help you.
Shubham asks a question, and it's an interesting one. Just to match a job description, should somebody add skills that they're not confident about?
So if there are skills that you are not confident about, there is a reason for it. Either you've not worked enough on that, or you have not really done well, even if you've worked on that, right? It is best to add in a manner where you say that on a scale of 1 to 5, this skill will be 1 or 2 rating. The minute you add ratings to the skill set, then they know that you're not very good at it. And they'll obviously question you basis that. So it's okay to mention, but mention that you're a novice, you're a professional, you're a fresher, write that so people are aware of that. That's all.
Okay. Deepak asks a question I think a lot of people can relate to, which is when you used to go for an in-person interview, at a high close rate in getting jobs, but now on online interviews, the success rate is poor.
You know,
Do you have any tips about what to do to improve?
it's an interesting one, right? You've attended this webinar online, and you still thought that you were with me in most of the slides, right? So an online interview is as effective as in person. What makes the difference is your confidence and your preparation to talk about who you are. That's all. Don't worry whether it's online, offline, doesn't matter, right? If you think that you could relate to the slides, that means I have effectively spoken to you online. And that's how an interview is, to be able to effectively put your thoughts across. And when can you do that? You can do that when you're prepared well. And I've given you enough tips to prepare well.
Okay. Subhash asked a question about which ranks more or rates more highly with the interviewer, a higher educational background or 10 years of experience?
I think for any interviewer, who you are as a person makes the most difference. It doesn't matter if you're 10 years experience and you don't know what you've been doing. Too bad, you will not get the job. You are a qualified professional, have stellar academic achievements, but if somebody asks you something about your academics and you're not able to answer, too bad, you will still not get your job. What is important is to tell your story confidently for them to believe who you are. Now, the next follow-up question to that is, oh, do you mean that education doesn't matter at all? Of course it matters. But if you've done something, that should only speak. So for example, I am not an engineer. I'm a commerce graduate and I've done management education. But a lot of my colleagues, fellow colleagues in HR, are engineering graduates who've done management education. They are much sharper than who I am. So am I going to say that, oh, I'm not as sharp because I'm a commerce graduate? Of course not. I'm going to talk of what I've done, how I've grown, how I've learned. So what is important is to showcase who you are.
Mm-hmm. We have a few technical questions about resumes themselves. How long should a resume be? Should it have rich graphics on it? And should it be formatted so that automated or application tracking systems can pull it in? What are your thoughts on these?
So I think it's important that your keywords are definitely there on your resume, which is if you are, say, a ROR developer and there are 5 things in ROR, make sure that you mention all those 5 things, because your application tracking system is built on the intelligence to pick those words and map it. So definitely you should have that. I'm not for or against a graphic or a visually representative profile, but I think what is important than the semantics or the layout, while the layout is basic, it should be neat, clean, legible, visible, not too cluttered. But beyond that, what is important is the work that you've genuinely done that is mentioned there, and not global jargons. So if there's anything that you have to work on your profile, make it genuine. Make it as if you're representing yourself in person when somebody reads that profile.
We have a question from Sushma in the YouTube audience who asks, how do you overcome interview fear?
Oh, Sushma, I think, when I understood that for the interviewer, it's a blind date, I've been the most confident. And the fear is often because we believe we are not prepared. The day you think, now, I'll give you an example, and this is a very funny and unrelated example. You are going into a party or a wedding or celebrating an occasion, and somebody comes and compliments you. Oh, your hairstyle looks good. you are suddenly very confident about yourself and you will start walking very confidently, right? Because your effort has been recognized. It's a very simple example. The same thing happens in an interview. If you have a lot of arms and ammunition, you will go in an interview, ask me anything. I have 10 failures, 10 success stories, 10 learnings. I know everything. Ask me. The confidence will drive how you answer questions. So you will fear if you're underprepared. And if you are still fearing after being prepared well, because that's in your nature, I think you should smile and tell that I'm a little nervous. I may stammer a bit. Please excuse me, but I will definitely attempt to give answers to the best of my ability. That will put the interviewer on the back foot. Okay, the person is told that he or she is nervous. Let me be slightly kind. He or she will try and make you more comfortable. So state that in the beginning so people are aware. Simple as that.
Great. Um, Sajid has a question, which is an interesting one. How does one avoid social stigma or embarrassment on LinkedIn when you're starting to look for opportunities or you're out of a job? Your friends, your family, your ex-colleagues, people are going to look at your LinkedIn profile, people who know you. They're going to start seeing, oh, he's out of a job, or he's looking for a new position. And how would you advise Sajid and people like in that position to
I
overcome that feeling?
I will give you my personal example. It's a great question. I was out of a job for about 2 or 3 months in between, and I was out of a job without a new job. So I left one job, I had not found another one, and I was searching for opportunities. Every day I would wake up and apply to 10 relevant jobs. And one day I actually was just sipping in coffee and I wrote on LinkedIn saying that I've applied to 800 jobs. I've got 50 interview calls. I've not got selected in a single one. But even today, I continue to apply for my jobs. I actually flaunted my joblessness on LinkedIn. I was amazed at the support that came to me when they read that. I had people calling me, "Are you all right? I hope you're doing fine. Don't worry, it's just a phase." And I'm actually sipping in coffee and just writing a LinkedIn post because I'm just, expressing my state of mind, right? So if you're out of job, be confident that you're out of job. It's okay. It doesn't matter, of what people say, what people think, because they're not going to come and pay you your salary. They're not going to come and pay you your allowance. They're not even going to come and check on you. They're only going to talk. So if that's impacting you, ignore them. Watch news for 5 minutes, watch social media also for 5 minutes when you're in that state. Don't worry too much about it.
I'd also add that when we think that the people in our networks may look down on us because we're looking for jobs, but the other aspect is that they may look and say, "Oh, I've been waiting for you to be available. Here's a job opportunity for you." So
Absolutely. Absolutely. Flaunt it. It's okay to flaunt it.
we are running out of time. I think you said you would be able to stay a few minutes longer. So I'm going to
Yes.
ask maybe a couple more questions. We have a general um, topic or theme among some of the questions about people who are non-technical,
Mm-hmm.
do not have a technical degree, but want to move into a technical field. What would you advise them about how to position themselves to employers, what things to emphasize in making that a particular kind of transition?
So, like I said, any transition is like a plane taking off, right? It's not going to be easy. It'll take a lot of efforts. To gain the thrust, it takes a lot of efforts, right? And even to go down, it takes a lot of efforts, right? Cruising is the best time. So when you're transitioning, it is more like the thrust that you need to gain, which means that in a normal scenario, if you were doing 5 things, in a transition phase, you have to do 15 things just because you are transitioning. And that effort means that you will look at projects, you will look at internships, you will look at learning opportunities. Your focus has to be that I want to do this work and not can I make this much money out of it, right? You cannot sail on both boats. So you have to have maximized efforts when you're transitioning. People will not believe you. In general, people do not like to believe anybody is transitioning. Oh, you must be a fool to actually leave such a good career and move there. I mean, they don't even understand that. there is a reason why you are deciding to transition. So you don't need to have to explain to them, but keep, maximizing your efforts. Very critical to find projects, internship, free work opportunities where you get to learn, because that learning will get you a job.
Very good. Um, by the way, in general, I'm going to assume that everything you have said applies not just for tech jobs, but for anybody who's looking for any job.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And
We
there's
have
nothing
a
that I've told that people don't know. I think all of us know this. It's just that they're organizing their wardrobe so they'll be able to pick up the right set of, clothes when they have to go out.
Ismail in our LinkedIn audience, and I think this may be our last question due to time. How would you get through to a specific company if you want to apply for a job there?
How would you?
So he's expressing some frustration about applying through job boards and web portals when looking to get to a particular company. So what would the strategy be if you said, for example, I want to work for Therapy, and how would you get to a company in particular?
I think sometimes we beat ourselves up for no fault of ours because somebody is not responding, somebody is not engaging. It's not your fault. And a lot of times people get very disillusioned in the job search process when they don't get responses. They get very rejected saying that, oh, I have applied to 50 jobs, nobody is responding to me. Don't do that to you because it's not on you. It's on people who have not possibly responded to you. But what I would do, like I said, when I was in a job search stage, every day morning, I would wake up, smell the coffee, apply to 10 relevant jobs. If out of those 10, there are two places that I really want to work in, I will go to LinkedIn, look up for two or three relevant people, try to write an email to them saying that, hey, I've applied to this job. Could you refer me? Could you help me? Etc. Etc. I would also try to talk in my network if anybody knows anybody in that company to see if somebody can put a word through. Basically, what I'm saying is I'm trying in different aspects and angles to get through people because I want that. And even after that, if you don't land that opportunity, don't worry. It's not that you will never land that opportunity. But what is important is to not beat yourself up, because when you beat yourself up, you become low on confidence. When you become low on confidence, you're not able to be your best at interview conversations. And you don't want to be not at your best when you go for any interview, because it's a job after all that you have to get.
What wonderful advice. So that is pretty much all the time we have for Q&A, and I apologize to everybody who asked really great questions that we could not get to. But I'm going to move on to one last item here before we close out the session.
And everybody will get a recording of this. Everybody will get the presentation, so don't worry about it. Just
right.
so that
we send out a follow-up email. It'll come out tomorrow for those of you in India, and you will get the link to the recording. And when I get the presentation from Vinay, I will make sure that I send that link out. If I need to send a separate email, we'll definitely do that. So a quick second poll. We talked about the approach to looking for work, looking for a new position, looking for the next step up in your career, and how to present yourself, how to tell your story.
We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Really? Okay. So we talked about how to tell your story, how to present yourself, how to take that next step up in your career. We're also interested in finding out what you'd like most to learn next to round out your skill set and when you'd like to do that. So The poll is over. I will share the result. And we find that people are very interested in data science, AI, and also project management and business skills. And a large number of you, more than half of you, said that you would like to start right away. So that's a good sign, because today is always a good time to start. So let me at this point then let me remind people how to get in touch with Vinay through his LinkedIn. And I want to thank you, Vinay, for being here today. This has been an excellent presentation. Very good response from the audience, and they're going to be looking forward to getting that recording and that copy of the PowerPoint.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Simplilearn, for having me over. Thanks, Charles, for patiently sitting through this one and also helping me in troubleshooting. And audience, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. I will be delayed, but I'll definitely be never late. I will answer your questions. Write your questions. I'll be happy to answer them. And good luck. Be confident. Prepare well. Do well. And God bless you.
Okay. Thank you so much. We're going to, we've dropped into the chat throughout the presentation links to the program Skill Up, which is something that Simplilearn introduced about a year ago. And we've already had more than 500,000, 500,000 people who have become involved in it. It provides access to our self-study skills. There's actually over 600 of the skills that are in the Skill Up program now. This is a free version of our self-study materials, and we invite all of you, and I will drop that into the chat one more time. When you complete a Skill Up course, you get a certificate of completion, which documents that you did this work. Different from our regular programs and regular certificates, which are more official representation of your skills, but still something that you can use to document your progress and your willingness to learn. So that I'm going to also point out that our next webinar is 1 week, Thursday of next week, and on the subject of cybersecurity. So if you are working in cybersecurity, if you are interested in becoming a cybersecurity expert, you'll hear from one of Microsoft's leaders in that field, and he'll talk about what the emerging threat profiles look like and how that will affect people's careers. Please ignore the sound of my telephone ringing in the background. And I've dropped the link to the next webinar in the chat as well. So please feel free to connect with us on our social media channels, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And this concludes the webinar. We thank you all for being here. We thank Vinay very much for being with us. And we hope to see you at future Simplilearn webinars, as well as invite you into the Simplilearn Learner community. Thanks again.
Thank you. Thank you.